So welcome everyone to the first virtual JavaScript meetup of 2021. For those of you who don't know myself or Daisy or IO generally, IO Associates are a specialist IT technical recruitment consultancy. Both myself and Daisy, we love JavaScript. It's all we recruit day in, day out. So it's very much our thing. But yeah, hoping to do a lot more of these talks on a monthly basis over the course of the year. We'll cover as many different subjects as possible, different speakers and that kind of stuff. And yeah, like Praveen said, if you guys want to hold on to your questions at the end, there'll be like a little Q&A bit towards the end of it. But yeah, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Praveen, and I'll stop sharing my screen here and pass you over to him. Praveen, over to you, my friend.
Hi everyone. So my name is Praveen. I'm originally from Chennai, India, and currently living and working in London for about like a year or so. And I'm currently in the UK for like a long time. I'm a JavaScript specialist. I'm working with React and Node.js as my primary stuff. And yeah, that's a quick and short introduction about me. I'm a full stack developer. So I keep saying that I'm a full stack developer. Then what is a full stack developer who doesn't have a website? So if you all are able to see my screen, praveen.science is my website, and this is me. Yes, I know it might take some time because we are streaming. So hey, so that's me. And yeah, I play different roles, and this is my portfolio. So I believe a lot of people here are web developers. So anyone who is a web developer, please, I request you or suggest you as a tip that have a nice website like this. Even a small portfolio will be a huge thing for like, for example, for recruiting companies like IO Associates. There are like loads and loads of recruiting companies, and they will be definitely impressed with a website like this, right, Jordan? What do you think?
Looks pretty good to me, mate. Although so I had extensively done my research and checked it out before this talk, so don't you worry.
So yeah, so there is a quick introduction, then talk about your experience, write your education. If you have done something in the past, please flaunt it. And then if you are good at doing something, try to share your knowledge to the world. Oh, by the way, there is also a YouTube channel which I have got. Don't forget to go and click on the subscribe, and please come and connect with me on any of your favorite social media. I'm always available. And yeah, so this is what people talk behind me, and this is the way you can talk about me behind my back. So that's, I don't want to give a lot of spam about myself. So without further delay, I'm just gonna quickly talk about my development environment, which is very important for our current scenario. So if you just go to Google and type in Praveen dev environment or development environment, the first thing comes as my personal development environment. So if you go there, so this is what I wrote a blog of. Like, for example, there are multiple times that I might switch companies or like switch my computers. Computers, sometimes it does not like when it is specifically an office computer, you tend to get your systems changed. So I thought, okay, I should have some kind of like a reference, which is a living document of what exactly I have, and that would be working best for me. So I keep a collection of this one. So I use Google Chrome for all my web development activities, and it's because that a lot of things are really good with Chrome, at least for me. And I'll just add the links as well in the chat in case if you're wondering. So these are the two links which I'm showing. And right, so coming to the Chrome extensions, they play a vital information in terms of like helping you with the development. And obviously Zoom, Git, all these things help you in making things making good productive stuff, because Zoom, the meetings, Git, in case if you want to go back in time machine, you can go for it. iTerm and OMI.sh. I'll show you how these two things are awesome. Sublime Text is my previous favorite, and it's like my ex IDE, which was helping me a lot. And let's skip all these things. We mainly require Node.js for React. And finally, one of the best ways, like best things Microsoft has done is VS Code, which is really good for React.js related works. And I use a couple of extensions, just these 8 extensions, nothing else. And that actually helps me a lot in this. So there you go. So these are the things which I wanted to say in front, because these will be my development environment, so that in case if you want to do something similar to what I am doing, you can make use of it or take it as a reference. And also for my Visual Studio Code, there is a dot file available here in case if you want to have the exact settings, which I don't recommend. You can use this. Coming to our so I talked about my VS Code setup and etc. And but today, since it's going to be like very short session, it's gonna take only half an hour. I just wanted to give you a quick brief of like there is this functional components and stateless components and stateful class components. So how are we gonna make it faster by using stateless functional components and getting the on-demand states and using hooks, so that it's going to be awesome. So insanely productive. So that's exactly what we are going to do. Thanks, Ariadne. I mean, did I did I say right? Thanks. And right. So coming back to our topic. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know how many of you know, if I type react.new, this will open up a code sandbox kind of a setup, a Visual Studio Code on your browser, and it's going to be awesome. So it's a template, and it's by this guy called okay. So that's actually by Code Sandbox as well, and you get a simple React.js application, and there you go. So if you change something here, it's gonna fork the whole sandbox and give you a complete work environment. And this is your own application where you can run and do things. So I've made a lot of React.js applications, and all these things have .csv, .app as their, as the um, address, and everything lives like it always lives, which is actually good about Code Sandbox. And if how many of you know about Code Sandbox, by the way, and react.new? So I used https react.new, right? I'm just gonna send out a small like a poll. I know Zoom doesn't have it, so I'm just gonna send a fast poll link. I just want to know how many of you know React and in what level, so that it might be helpful for me to like um, give the best for you. Like if you are completely beginner, I'll try to get the beginner oriented stuff. And if you're completely most of them are experts, I might be able to somewhat skip the beginner setup and stuff like that. So please click on that fast poll link and then just punch it. And please don't put it in the chat, because it's gonna ruin the chat. So let's have chat messages for your questions. In case if you have any questions, just put a Q in front of it and ask a question, so that when I'm reading the chat messages, I'll be able to answer them as well. So on the way, I'll keep answering them too. Yes, so and with the results, I'm just gonna submit my vote as well. Cool. We have a lot of intermediate people. There are only 32 votes coming in. So we have got a lot of intermediate people, a lot of people who are beginners. We have 5 people who have zero knowledge about React. So I'll just give a quick explanation of what React is and how we can work with. And then there are 4 other people who are experts. Please, if you have any, constructive criticism, I'm always happy to accept it. And that's cool. So we got a kind of like an idea. So people are like beginner and intermediate, they with a couple of people who have no clue about it, I believe. So yes, so the first thing which I'm gonna say is okay, let me quickly give an overview of what React is. When we are working with HTML and websites and web design, there is this one thing that we don't have it in HTML. So HTML, when you see, okay, how many of you are lazy? I'm the laziest person ever, because I'm like, I don't want to do a lot of things, but I want to do a few things, but it should give a huge impact. That's what I think, right? I believe that's the same thing with everyone. Or else why do we have missions all around running and lying around us? So to give a quick demo of how lazy I am, what I do is, for example, I generally start with this kind of like a nice, what do you call this? A demo of this. Sorry. Let me take the pencil. Okay, so let's say this is a website and we have a header here. There is a logo. Sorry about my handwriting. This is the best I can do with the mouse. So we have 4 navigation links. So you have till nav 4. Okay. And the way this particular HTML file is written is, so there is a header. Ow. There is a h1. There is a tag. Here inside the header, there is a nav tag. There is a UL tag. There are 4 list items, li, 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 and li. Each list items contain a, and then they have nav1, nav2, nav3, nav4. Okay, so the complete doc type along with the content, how long do you think you will take to write? Like, please tell, like, minutes or hours, like whatever you want to say. It is just the HTML part. Okay, so doc type, HTML head, title, some meta tags, then you have body, header. I'll also put like an idea of how many tags are there. So header, then you have like h1 nav. H1 has a which has logo as the text. We have UL, then we have li, we have a which has nav 1. So I'm just going to copy this one. So this is the entire structure that you're going to build just in HTML. No CSS, nothing. Okay, looks like there are people who knows it, who knows my trick. Snippet is fine, Jonathan, but the problem is if you have something like this, how do you think you might be able to do a snippet? Okay, there are some people who are saying like, if you put nav, my nav, or all right, yeah, right. Okay, so for people who are saying like web components and other things, still you need to code them, right? Yeah, I know about web components. Yes, you need to again write a lot of code. So how long? Possibly. So ultimately you need to generate the HTML. That's it. Okay, let's do this. I'll just show you. It's gonna be like 7:19:30. So I'm just gonna put my language mode into HTML. Nothing else I'm gonna do. And at the mark of 30, okay, I got the doc type and I have the header h1 a, and I've got logo inside that, nav ul, supposed to be nav, li star 4 a, nav dollar. Boom, that's done. 20 seconds. How many of you knew it? How many of you found it like interesting? So that's exactly what I do. So now talking about these things. Okay, I'm just going to copy this question. This question seems to be nice. So I'm just going to make note of all the, questions and I'll be answering them as well. Okay, so this is called Emmet, and lazy people's savior, we can say. So that's exactly what I generally do with like coding and stuff like that. It's not just for Visual Studio Code, it's there for everywhere, and Visual Studio Code has it in like built in. So VS Code has it built in. And yeah, so Cristiano has sent a nice link, but I would suggest something called as, if you go to docs.m, so if you go to emmet.io, there is a demo here. And if you go to the documentation, you can actually find a cheat sheet which shows literally every single thing. All right, so this is my quick something like I just wanted to share with me with you all, that this is one of the things which as a developer I like. But what is the problem with HTML right now? HTML doesn't have a way to stop repeated contents, right? So you have to repeat yourself a lot, which means repetitive code. Repetitive code means you have to update every single place, and there might be chances that you might be missing somewhere. So in order to, so in case if you don't want to repeat code or something like that, there are server side tools where you can use PHP or .NET or so PHP seems to be the easy thing, which I would say, because you just need to run it, spin it, and you include the file, and you can create partials, etc. So, and I won't say it is extremely fast. It's really fast. Faster than that is Node.js. So Node.js definitely has a lot of server-side templating engines. Coming to templating, you need client-side JavaScript, and nowadays templating engines are a bit crazy. So React, you can see it as a templating engine, and you can create a lot of components, reusable items. So that's exactly React, in case if you are wondering. And not only that, React renders on virtual DOM. This concept is, how do I say, it is kind of like super efficient, because it is not going to affect the real DOM, but there is a virtual DOM that's been built by React, and all the changes that happens on the virtual DOM will be reflected very faster than how it is going to happen in the real DOM. So that is the difference between having React rendering things versus normal browser rendering things. And the good part about React, the other thing about React is, like, you have a lot of things that um, that is going to help you with what do you call this, with performance aspects. So there is performance aspects in terms of development. So for example, if you are a developer, there is something called as conditional rendering, which is one of the best things React has. And then mapping of things. For example, you have a JSON structure, you have a JSON data. You're just sending the JSON data. You can immediately convert the whole JSON data into a kind of like a nice visual thing. For example, I'll just show one more small thing, and then we will go to the real demo, how to convert our stateful applications to stateless applications. So let me do one thing. I don't think Emmet is available here, so I have to use my less than key. So let's try something. So if I go to Bootstrap, how many of you have no clue what is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is something which without it I can't do anything. I'm a Bootstrap person. Okay, so I'm just going to take the Bootstrap CSS alone. This is version 4, and this depends on jQuery. jQuery is a library, which is a DOM manipulation library. While yeah, Matt, I need to move on to Tailwind, but for some reason Tailwind is not attracting me. I'm overly attached to Bootstrap, right? So CSS, JS, I'm not taking it because jQuery versus React, they won't mix. It's like Pepsi and Mentos, Coca-Cola and Mentos, they blast. So one is a DOM manipulation library, one is a virtual DOM manipulation library. Never mix these two things. Dangerous combination. So let me go ahead, click on the external resources, add the resource, boom, done. See, I've got my Bootstrap running, up and running. One thing which I have also done here is, so I've got this Bootstrap React helpers, which kind of like, yeah, Mike, what do you mean by isomorphic? I totally missed that point. Cool. So here what I have done is I have just created the Bootstrap stuff and then got the headers done. So I'm just going to quickly add this header here. So how many of you would like a dark header or a light header? Because a lot of people will say dark now, or else you won't be a developer, right? Okay, this header is not getting imported, so I'll just do import header from header. Oh, by the way, you don't need to import React anymore, which is actually a cool feature now, but I hate it for some reason. Let's say I'll just get rid of this one. True and data to awesomeness. Okay, so let's say I have a simple sample data. Just see what React does as magic for people who have not worked with React. And a sample data which I can do is I've got this GitHub repository. Oh, a lot of people are saying light. Cool. I don't need to do a lot of code. All I need to do is make false. That's it, done. I've got the light version. See, this is exactly what I was saying. It's going to be very easy for replicating things. For example, you have another function or something like that where you want to kind of like change stuff or something, but which you will be able to do within a few seconds, a fraction of a second. Okay, let's say, what's the link to Bootstrap React helpers? It's here. Okay, let's say I've got a huge application, like an application that has a lot of, say, pull requests or something like that. I guess I'll go with the Hacktoberfest ideas. So I did this particular repository for Hacktoberfest, and it has a nice, I mean, don't do this again. And yeah, so this particular repository has got a lot of pull requests. What I can do is I can look at the data of pull requests. For example, GitHub, oops, pull request API. So there are like loads of REST APIs available, and these are public APIs. So you can just use this one. I guess I need to go with api.github.io .com, I guess. Yeah, it's api.github.com. And if I just go to the pull request, so it's supposed to be like this. So the owner and repo is always here. So Praveen Science / Hacktoberfest project ideas. What I can do is I can just change this. Boom, I've got the data here. So what I can do here is, let's say, I'll add a data.json and the good part about Bootstrap is you will be able to quickly look at how the whole data has been come up. Rounded 3. So you can see this one too. Maybe I'll just make it a CM2. And this is my favorite way of like looking at the data. So JSON.stringify and data null 2, and then I get all the data here very quickly. And this is what I have got in me. And what I can see is every single thing is a pull request. So what I would generally do is like I kind of like create a Bootstrap based stuff. So we can do like data.map. So data.map is a map function will try to give you what do you call this? Convert the data into a stuff and like I keep blabbering now. Yeah, they transform your normal data into a HTML thing. So I mean, an array has a map function which transforms the original array elements into another way. So we can either like you can use that to transform your normal data array into a nice visual HTML way. So for example, which we have like a PR and an index. So now I'm gonna make I can do an li directly here. So let me put a UL. The coolest part is we have something called as um, what is that list group? This is not a good way of using I index, but just for a simplicity's sake, I'm just using this. So let me put a pre and do the same thing here. So all I need to do is I need to understand what exactly comes inside this. So what I would do is I will just do a PR. Okay, so if we do this, I guess I made a lot of mistakes while I do. And yes, this has a lot of information right now. So let's say we are interested in a couple of things. We are interested in title, the user's login, and what is the current state of this pull request. So we can do that way. And if you see this, this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, there are only 2 pull requests which are active. And to get all the pull requests, okay, we'll just go ahead with this one. So we can easily understand that what is the power of this one. So let's try to give, and the way you do it is easy. So PR dot, so what do you have here? I guess it's PR dot title. So let's do PR dot title. So there you go. So 7 Python projects added. And along with that, I wanted to give a span class. It's called a batch primary. And we have PR.state. So we can show it as like it is still open, ML2 or something like that. And I can actually get rid of, and we can also give the username as well. So let me put a break and submitted by user.login. So let me put a code PR.user.login. Cool. So we have got this one. So there is a way to get all the pull requests. So, but anyway, I'm just going to get rid of these things. So you can clearly see how easy it is to get something quickly up and running. So that's exactly what I wanted to show here. And EM2. So right. So this is the power of React. And now coming to, I'm really sorry. I took like more than 20 minutes to explain what React is, what best things it can do. Sorry about that. And I'm just gonna open up this Untitled, set it as React. And so all I need right now is let me get rid of this data. So let's see if I have got a simple class component. That's it. So okay, I use this thing called as so as I said you before, there are only 8 plugins that 8 extensions I have installed. So we have got these things. So prettier, and I mean, like literally a lot of things help me out. So ES7, React, Redux, GraphQL, the snippets is one of the best things. So yeah, that's exactly helps me in a lot of things. So I'll go with React, sorry, app, and yeah. So we've got an app here. Let's say, yeah, we do have the header as well. So I'll just take the header, add it over here, and let's add this header as well. Cool. So now we have got this. So this one is a class component. A class component has a lot of things that it goes through the life cycles and other things. Then there is a state object where you can set the state of things. For example, so dark, we'll just put it as true, sorry, false. And I'm just going to give as this dot state dot dark, so that it's going to show me this way. So let's say I've got an input, which is a checkbox. And what I'm going to do here is, okay, for now, just let's do this way. So I'm just giving a dark kind of a label there. I don't know, still the control label works. So I'm just going to give form control. Cool, that actually helps it better. M2. Okay, so we have got something like this. Okay, so we have got a state, and on click, like on change. So whenever this value changes, what I wanted to do is I'm going to ask it to go for this handler. Okay, handle toggle. So this is going to take an event. And here in React, when you're working with events, it's going to be a synthetic event. So I'm just going to prevent the default action of the event. And then whenever a change happens, like whenever this happens, I'm going to set the state of dark to be not the state of dark. Oops. And this will technically toggle my stuff, and I'm going to give handle toggle here. So you can see that this is going to do a this dot handle toggle. And again, the value is going to be, or checked is going to be, this dot state dot dark. This is going to be a controlled component. So the value is connected to the state, and the changes are also updating the same state. Okay, so this one is a funny thing that's happening. So checked equal to this dot state dot dark, which is cool. We are not using, so technically what happens here is, when you try to look at the console, not in this at least. So there is something called as HMR, which is called as hot module replacement. And the hot module replacement is going to be, it's going to happen this way. Like, just give me a second. So there seems to be some kind of a craziness happening here, because when I try to click on the dark, it's actually not updating the checkbox, which usually should be. But let's see. Right, I get that. Okay, so that's the problem. Yeah, I need to send a. Okay, cool. Okay, this is because it's asynchronous in nature, and that's one of the reasons. Thanks for bringing it up, Sophia. And yeah. Okay, I don't think that works as well. So state we have got, we are sending it out as this. Now there seems to be some other issue here. Okay, these issues will happen. Let me try to debug quickly. Okay, so if we go to the components, so this is provided by the React Dev Tools, and we have this dark state as false. So I click on it, it does say the dark as true, but for some reason here the state dot dark, it is not actually re-rendering. Did I do something, some kind of a mistake or something? Like let's try it with a connected input maybe. So if the input doesn't work, then that's going to be the worst mistake ever for me. So let's say text, the value is nothing, and I'm just gonna copy the same thing here from here. So it's gonna be input type text, and this is gonna be on change. It's going to be handle change, and so we are going to replicate the same thing using stateless functional components. We'll see how we are going to do it. Oh, okay. I understood what mistake I did. It's the event.prevent default. Cool. So we don't need to even do an asynchronous state or like state loading like this. That's completely fine. Even without that, this will work. So there you go. That was my fault. Okay, so cool. Event.prevent default was the worst thing that I did. So this happens with the people who are changing from jQuery to JavaScript and stuff like that. So jQuery to React and React to jQuery, stuff like that. Okay, so here we saw this is a connected input, and we can also do one more thing. Like when we are trying to do this, we can also say something like a different class can be given. So if this dot state dot dark is set, oops, then what I can do is I can give like a bg primary, oops, bg primary, else nothing. Okay, so even this is possible. So what happens here is the moment I click on it, it's gonna show me in a crazy way. I'll just use success so that it is nice to, okay, primary. Yeah. So here we are able to change the whole thing, but we are kind of like bringing in a lot of, like a lot of pressure to the React application because we are using a stateful component. A stateful component will go through all the lifecycle methods, and this is really like a tough thing to do it. So welcome to the normal way. Like the new way is to use the functional components. So if you open a new React application, no, Mike, it was my fault. I suddenly I forgot that I should not give prevent default for inputs. Yeah, by mistake I did that. That's the reason it was not working fine. Right. So here let's do the same thing again. So I'm just gonna get the, or else what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this one and I'm gonna fork this as a new one. So let's do a fork of the sandbox. So whatever I change here, it's not going to affect the other sandbox. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is no states, nothing, and converting this whole thing into a functional component. So again, this is gonna help me. Like this is React class component, RAFCE is a React functional component. So this is gonna be a functional one. So now what I'm doing here is I'm gonna get rid of not everything. It's gonna throw something. Yeah, right. So we need to use something related to dark, okay, state, and let's return this thing. So let's copy this whole stuff and replace it with this one. I'm just going to put app1. The export default app is already there. So cool. At this point, that's not what I was expecting. So we don't need this whole React thing at all. Oh, okay. See, without the React import, it's going to work, which is cool. This is the latest version of React. And now if we want to, okay, there is this .state.dark. So we need to get rid of all these things. So I'm just going to get rid of this whole stuff again. I'll just copy and paste. I mean, like, I'll just take a reference from the other place. This supposed to throw an error for me. Exactly. Right. So I'll just get rid of these things. So we have something called as a dark, which is not defined yet. So now I need to really import React and something called as use state. Okay, now how do you use the use state? So I create a constant. So use state, whenever you initialize it, it's going to give you an array of 2 elements. So here we will be using a destructuring method where I'm going to put like dark, comma set dark, and then this is going to be use state. By default, it is false because a lot of people wanted it to be like a dark mode thing. So on change, what you do is you just do a set dark, not dark. Boom. I guess that's done. So with so many things here versus simple thing here. So this is going to be again a handle. I guess it's handle toggle. That's what we did, right? So I'm just going to do this on change handle toggle. Boom. Almost similar stuff, but the amount of code is also reduced. Along with that, the efficiency will be like very much higher because we are not using the life cycles of React again, and this is going to be like very efficient. Right, and we are almost at the end. So we kind of did this, and now coming to the like component did mount and stuff like that. So where do you do component did mount? When you want to run something once the component has been loaded. So I'm just going to do a component did mount here. And the classic example is running an asynchronous function. For example, let's run a timer using set timeout or something like that. So let's say we can have a quick message saying like, so let's have a paragraph and let's add some classes. Thanks for another awesome question. I'm just going to make a note of it. Right. So this class needs to have a em2 and time is running. And then we will do some kind of a timer. Okay. So here we have a state. And inside the state, we can have a time which starts with 10. And every time we will create a kind of like, what do you call a const tmr set interval, not a timeout. Let's do a set interval. And what it does is this dot set state time should be this dot state dot time -1. And this should not happen every time. Okay, so what happens here is if I try to put this dot state, I need to give number of seconds or else it keeps going on in infinite loop. I guess it's this dot state dot time seconds. So it's something like this. Cristiano, not only that, for answering Jeremy's question about what's going to happen, how I did the hot module replacement. Generally, the best way I prefer running with React is like use create React app And create React app comes with this hot module reloading feature and functionality, and that's awesome. So that automatically comes it has it out of the box. So you don't need, you can be completely lazy about it. Okay, so now it's going on like in the minus, completely minus, and which is actually not a good way. So what we can do here is, let's go back. Okay, I'm just gonna do an if condition. If this dot state dot time, so I'm not giving a what do you call this? I'm not giving kind of like a callback function here, because I do there is no reason for this being an asynchronous, because we are having already set state is asynchronous, set interval is asynchronous, everything is asynchronous here. So time is equal to 0. No, I mean greater than 0. Do this, else I need to do two things. This dot set state, time ran away. Perks of JavaScript, you don't need to typecast things. And then we can do clear interval of TMR. So if I do this, let's see what is going to happen. That would be easier, but yeah, sometimes people tend to make mistakes in that. So that's the reason I don't do it. So it says ran away seconds. So unless and until it's, so what I'm gonna say is like, if this dot time is not equal to ran away, so always use the double stuff. Seconds, else go run away, something like this. Okay, so that's exactly what I have written. And if I refresh this page, most of the times, oh, sorry about this, forgot to add this time. Cool. So we have this. So time is running. And this is a classic example of using an asynchronous function inside a class component. And once it hits the 0 seconds, go run away. Okay, so that's cool. We can even do, yeah. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for coming in. Okay, now what we are going to do is how we can do the same thing in what do you call this? In this app. So here we can have another thing called as const. Okay, I'm gonna make my lazy thing work. So time. Is it time or timer? Yeah, it's going to be time. And it starts with 10. Then we need to do this part. So let's add this. Instead of this dot state dot time, we can get rid of those things. We've got this, just the time. Time is running 10 seconds. Now, the other way of using the set state or something like that is, there is something called as use effect. Oh, sorry to hear that, Matthew. Have a nice day. So what we can do with use effect is something similar to our component did mount when you don't have a kind of like this, right? And now here, what we are going to do is, so we kind of like converted this set timeout, set interval inside the component did mount. So I'm gonna do the same stuff, TMR equal to this and that, and all these state things will go away. And I don't need to use the time, like making the time this way. So again, a lot of code will be removed. Instead of using this dot set state, I'm gonna use set time once. Boom. There seems to be some issue. Set time not okay. Set state not defined. Where? What did I do? Use state, set time. Okay, this is a typical thing about VS Code. I guess my mission is like this particular thing is gone. Yep. This is component did mount plus component did update. Yes, you're right. Set time -1, but something is wrong with the way I have written this. So I'm just going to do a console.log hi. So it is actually happening, but for some reason it is not working as expected, and I'm not sure what exactly. No semicolons. So we are giving set time -1. This is supposed to, oh, I got it. So this is gonna be doing a lot of things. Like, sorry, this I need to do as a timeout. The reason being, every second when this changes, this whole the dependency array changes, and you need to like update it. So yeah, exactly. So use effect needs to have a dependency array. Whatever is actually changing, you need to update it. So now again, you can use a small function to start it up and end it. So that's cool as well, right? So these are a couple of changes that you can make in your code to convert your stateful application into a stateless on-demand lifecycle application. So these two things are exactly the same, but the efficiency of the second one is far better than the first one. So that's exactly what I wanted to tell. And there are like loads and loads of things which I can tell right now. I really want to talk about the use, what do you call this? Use params and other the router use use params is use match, and there are like loads of hooks available, and they are all very super helpful. You don't need to have any kind of like higher order functions or higher order components. So everything is given to you right right in a simple way. So that's exactly what I wanted to say. And cool. Did I make any mistakes while explaining things? So people who are experts here, they can definitely let me know. And yes, back to the questions now. So that's about it, which I wanted to quickly tell. And coming to the questions, the React team has announced server-side render SSR last month. It's been a long time SSR came out. What use cases can you see for React apps, and how does it fit into the UI state management and componentization focus the React library already has? That's actually a good question. Like SSR is very helpful in, for example, if you're working with SEO and you require really a good SEO, and your people are, what do you call this? You have to render only, it should be extremely high, quick, and you cannot use JavaScript, etc. And that point of time, maybe you can use, that's one of the best ways of using React SSR. That's what I would say. That's exactly the same thing Muhammad Mullah has also said. Cool. And the next thing is, when would you use state component versus functional component? Now everyone is moving towards functional components. If you require to use state, use the use state hook. And yes, yes is the answer. So yeah, whenever you want to use the, if you want your system to be extremely fast, use functional components as much as possible. And there are there are a couple of things where you will be using state component, because one thing is learning or writing state components is easier compared to functional components. This is my personal feel. I'm not sure how others feel. Like new developers, as far as I have seen, who have been through the React journey from day one, uh, I personally prefer state components are easier than writing functional components with hooks. That's one. And by Ariadne. And the that's the main thing which I would see. That's the only main thing that I'm seeing. What is the lifetime and scope of use state? State, see, this is the same thing with the normal state as well. So states are not accessible across two things, across two components. So if you need a state to be accessed across two components, you need to pass them through props and stuff like that. So that's what you need to do. It is the same case with states and use state. Both have the same, uh, according to the lifetime and scope, there is no difference. Can you recommend a good open source React, Node.js, TypeScript based projects to get involved in? Ah, um, nothing that I know of right now, but definitely, uh, yes, sure. What do you think are the most up to date book references that you would give come to someone coming to React from Angular 2? Good question. React documentation, the official documents are documentation is really good. Uh, yes, that's the best thing which I would say. TypeScript, I personally hate TypeScript. Oops, Jordan is actually here. Jordan, don't hear me, but still, yeah. Right. TypeScript, I personally don't like TypeScript because I'm a JavaScript person. The real reason why I came to JavaScript is no typing. And I don't mean no typing, like no type. It's not a typed language. So they are bringing in the Java .NET features into JavaScript, which I kind of hate. Um, I'm not comfortable. So yeah, with respect to references, yes, I would say, um, yeah, let's go with the official documentation for React. That is really good nowadays. They are really bringing up to the standards. And with respect to TypeScript, I'm not sure, but I have a couple of Udemy courses that I can recommend. The course by Max Millen, which is, everyone knows that he is doing really good with TypeScript. So I would say, like, go with that. Can you use effect for fetch request? Always, almost all the fetch requests are done using use effect in functional components. So that's about it. And for everyone who is actually, everyone is leaving, so please go check out my website, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I've been doing a lot of crazy things in my YouTube channel. So here's my YouTube channel link as well. And I'm sorry, I should have actually asked, is it okay if I share my YouTube channel, Jordan?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine, Praveen. Feel
Yeah.
free to.
So I've been doing a lot of live streams on React and PHP as well, and there are like loads and loads of things. Please go ahead, hit the subscribe, and support me. I'm doing a lot. I just recently started it up, and it's been going really good. Every weekend I'm doing a live webinar, and we are like literally looking into like augmented reality, creating a greeting card, etc. So we had one more in the previous week as well. It is something related to the AR foundation plane, the planes and other things, how you go for that and stuff like that. I guess, yeah, I don't want to take up much more time. Um, sure. So I've added my YouTube link, and my socials are in my website. I have added all the links here. Um, yeah, feel free to connect with me, and see ya. So that's about the whole webinar, and yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, no, Praveen, that was really great. Like, thank you so much for obviously doing that. Me and Jordan really enjoyed it, and obviously thanks to everybody for coming to the first one. Obviously, we're going to be running these monthly from now on, myself and Jordan. So yeah, we're going to have more great speakers like Praveen. Maybe we might even have you back down the line. We'd love to.
Yeah, I wanna come back as well.
That would be great. No, we'd love that.
Definitely.
If there was anything that you wanted to go back over on this specific talk that Praveen's done, if you just keep an eye out on our LinkedIn page for IO Associates, we'll be sharing the recording there, so you can go back over it just in case there was anything else you wanted to look at. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to be running these every month, and because they're going to be a community event, we're really keen to hear what your thoughts would be on getting the next speaker in. So is there any tech in particular or anything else that you think you'd find really useful knowing about? Myself and Jordan obviously know quite a few people in the industry. We can go out and find speakers that we think would benefit yourselves. So if you drop either me or Jordan a message on either LinkedIn or email or anything, no, we'd love to hear your thoughts on today's talk with Praveen, and anything you'd like to see next month and for the rest of the year. Great. I can unmute everybody now.
Thanks very much, guys, and thanks for everyone for joining. We'll yeah, like Daisy said, any topics, anything you think might be interesting, any speakers that you know of or stuff like that that you think, yeah, I'd love to hear from that person or whatever, then feel free to get in touch with me and Daisy at IO. We can reach out to these people. We'll do all the legwork, get them all booked in, and we'll send you guys the details for the next call, which will be in a month's time.
Jordan, suggestion.
So
Eddie,
yeah, go on.
Eddie.
Sorry, I thought you said you had a suggestion.
So yeah, suggestion for the next speaker, maybe Eddie Jody.
Yeah, I've spoken to Eddie already. So I'm hoping to, if it's not, because I spoke to him back in the autumn. I know he was very busy with Hacktoberfest stuff. But he will probably be on in the next kind of couple of months, I would say. Obviously his flavor is very different to yours, Praveen, so he'll most likely be wanting to kind of talk about Angular stuff. But yeah, like if there's anything specific that you guys want to hear about, let us know, and we'll get it booked in for you guys. Cool. All right, well, if that's everything, if anyone has any questions, then by all means, pop it in the chat. Otherwise, thanks for turning up, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Lovely to have you here.
Amazing. Cheers, guys. Thanks all. Thank you, Praveen.
Thanks, Praveen.
See you guys.